Sure are.
Yo, here we are.
Right. Hello everybody, and you're very welcome to the grand final of the Pangur Poitin competition. We're using Poitin now glasses, of course. So I'm just going to introduce you very quickly to the product and also then our two contestants. So these are the three Poitins here. So they're absolutely lovely. One's got a green cap, one's got a purple cap, and one's got a brown cap, all wax dipped. But the thing about them is one's aged in bourbon casks for 10 weeks, one's aged in PX sherry casks for 10 weeks, and the last one is aged in stout casks for 10 weeks. And unfortunately, that's all you're allowed to do with Poitin at the moment, but they still taste beautiful. But this one here, let's get a wee taste of it. And when you try to explain what Poitin tastes like and what the Poitin category is, and to people and what it actually smells like as well, this Poitin anyhow, the closest thing that I can identify that this smells like is a really nice mezcal. And on the nose, it has all those lovely notes, those notes that you get from mezcal, those sort of herbal notes as well, and the sweetness and the earthiness and the smokiness as well. And yeah, it's absolutely beautiful liquid. And each of these are 47%. Now, we put this competition out to try and explore the liquid further, and we learned a lot from the contestants who are phenomenal. I mean, the entrants to come back, thankfully I wasn't the judge, so I didn't have to sieve my way through them all, but the judges were actually Nathan Evans and Chris Hennessy, who were brilliant and had a very difficult job as well because the standard was so high. But we settled on our last two contenders, and one of them was from County Down, who probably lived about a mile from me, to tell you the truth, growing up, and it's Roland Collins. And then another one who we thought was from County Cork at the bottom of the country. Turns out that he's actually an immigrant from County Donegal. So three Ulster men. But yeah, so I went down and collected Rory today in Dublin, and that's why we're late, because I was late, which is a good job because Roland's also late. So we're all here now, and we're about to kick off the competition. But if anybody's got a Poitin at home, grab one. If anybody's got another native spirit from their own country at home or from another country, grab it too. And if you don't have anything lovely and funky, you can grab a whiskey, because this is essentially whiskey's mummy. So gorgeous, slancha. So we're going to probably flip a coin, are we, to see who's up first, or have you guys decided yet?
I'll flip a coin, yeah. I'll do whatever, yeah.
Anthony, flipping a coin.
I don't have any coins. I can't afford a coin.
Well, here.
Notes only,
Flip a card.
Flip a card. Right. Call
heads or tails.
Heads or tails.
Heads, surely. Heads.
So
Tails it is.
So we're going with Roland Collins. He's up first, and come on ahead now, Roland. Oh, we can never go this way.
Yeah, I'm going around the back there.
So just while Roland was coming up, I want to talk a little bit more about this. So this is not overly smoky, and there's a small peated component in the liquid. So you'll notice that it goes very well in cocktails along those sort of penicillin lines, and that's one way to look at it. But at the same time, it's a very versatile spirit, but it works brilliantly in the likes of mezcal cocktails too, you know. So you come on in here and start chatting.
I want to put this in here, just.
Yeah.
It does go beautifully. I love a penicillin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. I brought me on glassware, so.
That's right. We don't want you to use ours anyway.
Ronan, so just before you do, Nathan, and I'm going to bring in Chris as well, just to talk about how you two got to be here as well, rather before we make them as well.
Yeah.
So
go ahead. That's brilliant.
Chris can go first. Chris can go first. Chris, good evening, Chris. How are you? Can you hear us? No, he's gone. The minute we say about Chris talking, and he drops out. Nathan, you'll have to have at it first.
So Chris and myself had the very difficult job to judge the cocktails. Obviously, the whole competition started with online entrants. People filled out a couple questions, kind of brand knowledge about Poitin, how it will be best way to kind of promote it around the world and stuff. And so we had the difficult task of narrowing it down to 10 final people. a lot of conversations back and forth with Chris and I just to kind of confirm that. And then they were all, those 10 people were contacted, sent a bottle of the poitin, and had to create their own cocktail video explanation on how to do it. And then Chris and I had the fun job of running all over the place and trying to source all the different products and ingredients and making homemade ingredients and stuff. And then we had the unfortunate job of actually had to make every single one drink them as you would, so we could judge them. It was a long Saturday night for me. Decided to do it all in one go. And after half a bottle of poitin, we'll say it was a good night. And so Chris and I kind of judged them separate, because obviously Chris is from Kilkenny, I'm from County Kerry. And so then after that, we kind of chatted about it, who we thought, messages back and forth, and was able to bring it down to the final two today. Chris?
Good evening.
How are you, Chris?
Chris wore a Killowen t-shirt. Nice.
Sure, but I could be on brand or off brand. You never know. There's always something forward. We'll just keep things in back and forth. You'll never know, and then we'll just see what happens. Myself and Nathan had a fun job seeking out all the ingredients. It doesn't really seem like much when you only have 10 competitors, and a lot of them did think the same way when it comes to honey or citrus or different types of sweeteners and stuff. But when people get very specific with ingredients, and me being down in Kilkenny, Nathan being up north, my shops are not the same as his shops. My local suppliers are not the same as himself. So it was quite fun to figure out what is easy at hand for myself, what's easy at hand for himself. And if we were to take any of the drinks or any of the items and bring it on tour with Killowen to Europe or to the States or anywhere dotted around the world, would those ingredients be easy to hand, or would they be an absolute nightmare? Because you can only bring X amount of things onto flights underground. You mightn't have friends who will tell you the local areas. So the different drinks were great. They were very diverse. Some of them were really, really cool. And we get the fun of seeing the two lads there today.
So back to Ronan. Ronan Collins, you're up, son.
Thanks, folks. Well, I just talk straight to you, Nathan.
Yeah.
Come on and look at you, Chris. Yeah, I don't want to leave you out.
I'll sit beside the camera so you think you're talking to both of us.
Yeah, deadly. Well, yeah, thanks to everyone for having us in this beautiful venue as well. But yeah, so when I finally got my hands on Pangur, a wee bit like what Brendan was talking about, you really do get those notes of like the terroir with that little wee bit of like lick of smoke in there that is prevalent in native spirits such as mezcal. Also, I kind of got like a wee touch of minerality and sweetness, and I kind of got a wee touch of like soil. And I must admit, the first thing I thought about making was I just shutting the lights off here. It's such a good event. Oh, that was you. I thought that was me. I thought it was just like charging the static in the room, you know. But one of the first drinks I thought about making was actually a penicillin. It's one of my favorite cocktails. So I kind of started to go down that route, but then I kind of drew way back, and I went for a wee dander. Like Brendan said, I don't live too far away from the distillery, my home house, so I went back up into the Mourne, so Kilbrony Park, down by Ferry Glen, and that's when I started to kind of come up with some of the ingredients for this one. So I'm going to make two of these drinks. Now, this drink is called Fairnock, and it was kind of when I was up in Kilbrony Park that this all started to kind of come together. Very much the way Killowen as a brand has put Gaelic front and center. I really wanted to have that as part of this drink. So I call this drink Fairnock. Now there's a great book, which maybe you all know, that has come out in the past couple of years called 32 Words for Field. And it shows how like the beautiful texture and complexity that's in the Gaelic language, and that there are so many different words for so many different, or for the same thing. So Fairnock is one of those words for stone. Now in Kilbrony Park, The locals, we all know it as Big Stone or Clockmore. Some people will call it Clockmore Stone, which does mean big stone. So with that, it was like, it's a static stone. So it is. It's just this huge big stone. And that was kind of the inspiration for Fairnock. And Fairnock means rolling stone. And it was with that term, the rolling stone, it was that movement that I really thought encapsulated both Poitin, the Killowen brand, and this drink, because Poitin brings the heritage of the mighty tradition that is the distilling and pre-distillation that is in Ireland, especially predating Irish whiskey, but then rolling it through, bringing this brand, as you can see, even with the beautiful artwork on the front and the different casks that have been aged in, kind of shows that to try to bring it into like a modern day bar setting and like for the consumer palate. So that's it, rolling into the 21st century. So in the end, I decided to use orchard fruits. So I used apple and then honey. Now the honey I'm using is from Restrever, but I think this is kind of one of the fun parts. The honey syrup can be used from your local area, just to kind of play with the nuances and terroir from there as well. So I'm going to make two. So I'm going to put in 30 mils of our honey syrup and then 50 mils of concentrated apple juice. Now this is not fancy, cloudy, Armagh orchard apple juice. This is just concentrated apple juice, which is pretty easy to get anywhere. Then I'm going to put in 2 dashes of orange bitters per drink. So that's 4 in total, just to bring out those citrus elements that are kind of underlying in the Poitin. And then finally, a dash of Angostura bitters each. Angostura bitters is that beautiful, like, overarching spice that just highlights all flavors and combines them together. It's a binding agent for flavor, so it'll pull out some really good spices in this drink. And then finally, I'll put in 50 mils of our Pangur Poitin for each drink. Now, that extra wee bit of ABV, as we know, sugar, salt, and alcohol carry flavor. They tend to be the biggest flavor carriers. There is no salt in this drink, but in the bitters, there's quite a lot of like herbish notes, so that will bring it through. Now, it does need a wee bit of dilution, just so it comes across quite nicely. I feel like I'm going to get a bit of grief for this. I did bring my own ice. I wasn't really sure where I was going to do this, so I thought I'd bring my own ice. So mainly, again, I kind of like, I think if I was going to do it based on Clockmore and based on a big stone, I felt like the rock was super important. So kind of got some of that big glacial type ice. I tell you, if I had Finn McCool here to chop that up, that would have been handy as well. So a wee bit of folklore for you folk. I see, is Michael Cowman on today? Well, he probably doesn't know anything about up north, but we have folklore up here as well. But so I'll just throw that in there. Take these in for a second. And then I'm just going to stir this for about 10 to 15 seconds just to get the honey and the apple juice all together. It doesn't need to be chilled too much because it is served over ice as well. But just to kind of get it nice and chilled, and I'm actually just going to put it to the side and let it cool down a wee bit more while I chip some ice for the drink itself. Hopefully, Anthony and Katie, you have a wee mop as you're looking at me. Oh no, we'll keep her going. But yeah, so the whole inspiration of that Fairnock, of that Rolling Stone, was to kind of showcase how, again, even looking, as Brenton said earlier, of those native spirits in other countries such as mezcal, even looking at pisco, you know, they are what the locals drink, they are what everyone in the area drink. So how do you get that to a wider audience? And by looking, like, not masking your heritage, so not hiding from it, actually embracing it. And it tends to be when you do embrace your heritage, as we can see even with the name Gaelica and the artwork on the front, you know, we're embracing it. Our Killowen, have embraced it a lot. But it's with that people tend to like latch onto, because as humans, we love the emotion to latch onto. So there we go. Now, the color itself, right? I didn't think I would notice it as much, but if you're ever up in the mornings and the sun is setting I tell you, if it doesn't look like that, well, if there's no clouds and it's not raining, but if it doesn't look like that, I'll fight you. And then on top, I'm just going to put a little lime zest just to bring out some of those fruity esters on top. And also, I think it matches the beautiful wax top on the top of the Pangur bottle perfectly. So there we go. That is my cocktail, Fairnock, the Rolling Stone, for the Pangur Poitin Cocktail Competition. Do you have any questions, or do you want to try anything?
Well, I'm going to come around and try it.
Okay, great.
I'm going to check. Hold on. Send which one do you want for a photo?
I'll take this.
Do you want to walk all around and taste it right now? Oh, sorry.
I'll do that for a photo and you
Yeah.
chat there.
Any comments on that, Chris?
He's muted.
Oh, Chris, sorry, I actually made you a pre-batch one. So, Chris, I can send this down to you. That's it there, if you need one. That's one for you as well.
Cheers.
It's actually two. Don't tell Dave Mulligan I've taken his bottles.
Okay. Sorry, Chris, I'll have to try it.
Can I try some as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I actually have a spare one for you to take home as well.
Oh, brilliant. Anthony, are you getting some?
No, obviously not. No, yeah, thanks for calling me. I appreciate that. Yeah.
There's one for Kate.
It's all right. Yeah.
There's definitely one for you.
Of course there is, yeah. You bet your life.
That's really good. Really good.
You
So
can feed
then
them
that-
more.
You can see what's happening, just allowing that wee bit of sweetness with the honey.
Anthony, you going around?
No, I don't stand here.
He's taking it hard. Well done, that's wonderful.
This is Chris's taste.
Well done.
No worries. But yeah, Chris, if you do have any questions, feel free. I don't know if you put any in the chat or anything like that.
Do you have any questions, Chris?
No, you went full blown with the explanation. I followed everything, and then from reading the emails and the chats back and forth, you've covered everything that I wanted to know.
Cool. Thanks, Dave.
You jump in there?
Yeah. Okay. No, lovely cocktail. I mean, and kind of had to get all the ingredients together and make it up. It was one of the ones that stood out. There was two that did. So it was definitely a lovely combination of flavors and stuff. I know one of the aspects of the competition was how you think the best way to promote poaching around the world. Obviously, in Ireland here we had Poaching Now last weekend to help promote poaching. It's the year of poaching. So that was one of the big things that kind of also made sure that we had the right people in the finals that they were making a drink that they knew would help sell poaching around the world. What else do you think, other than just a cocktail, would help promote poaching around the world in America and France and Australia, Canada, wherever?
Yeah, well, yeah. So aside from like signature serve style cocktail, and with the brand and the way it's all going for quite a lot of the brands, I think that education piece that I know a lot of modern day poaching producers are doing, but it's just like code breaking that, like even in Ireland, a lot of people when you hear poaching, you still think, oh, is that illegal? Like just code breaking that it's a beautifully made spirit and it's like done with craft and with finesse. And bringing that to the forefront. So in the likes of European countries, like, oh, you've heard of Irish whiskey? Yeah, it's brilliant. We love it. However, have you heard what predates that? Like the true spirit of Ireland? No, it's no longer illegal. It's actually made by these craft producers in a certain way. And I think that would be the first stepping stone in those areas, you know.
Okay. Well done.
Yeah, look, thanks, man.
Thank you. Let you get tidied up and then we'll get.
Yeah.
Do you want me to step in for a minute then, Anthony, while you get already set up? That was absolutely brilliant. Thanks very much, Ronan. And Anthony, you could probably chip in with some of the comments that we get on socials, but just on the poaching again, we can talk about, it's too bright or what?
It's your glowing looks.
I'm sure it is. But it's called Pangur anyway. Pangur is named after a poem that was written in the 6th century. I suppose the poem was Pangur Ban, written by an Irish monk. And it was just the influence that we had on the world at that time from this part of the world and all over. We were all over the place. And basically, this poem was written in a country that's now known as Germany, but at the time wasn't. And it was quite a humorous little poem. It was way ahead of its time, and the act carried out by the monk would have been seen as sinful at the time. It was sacrilege almost. He was using his gift of writing that was taught to him by his abbey and by his order to read out scripture in a really beautiful manner, and that's what he was doing. But while he was at work, he was keeping a wee book of poetry, and in the room while he was working at night, there was a cat. The cat being Pangur Band, his white cat, that was torturing a little mouse. And he's torturing this mouse in the corner, and it was somewhat disturbing him. And then after a while, he came at peace with the idea. He realised that, this cheeky little cat is torturing this mouse with such perfection, in the same way that I'm carrying out the scripture, rewriting the scripture. And so he was doing God's work, and the mouse was also doing God's work, and then he was content with it. So there was that fun aspect. And the same way that these monks reintroduced basically a university system, literature back to the Western world at the time, after the Dark Ages, we're reintroducing poaching. And that's the fun part of the revival. And that's why it's fun, that's why it's colourful, and that's why it's dynamic. And this is where poaching is today. So, yeah. Right. Kristen stuck a photo of her cactus on Facebook yesterday. Whatever sort of cactuses they get down your part of the country, I think they can stay there. But you'll get a bottle, no bother. We'll get you one of them out. You're all right. But yeah, so that was one of the comments. Now, our next contestant as well. So he's a crossbreed between Donegal and Cork. Rory McGee, and I'll let him introduce himself on his cocktail. So I'm handing over to Rory now.
How are you doing? Yeah, so I'm Rory McGee from the Shelburne Bar. Yeah, I've introduced the Pangur Poitin cocktail. I called it P&P. It's peat and port, but there'll be 4 P's really involved with the drink, so there's ambiguity there. So it'll be fun for people. So which the true 2 P's are, but it's the peat and port. So when I received my bottle of Pangur Poitin, tasting notes, yeah, there's that lovely smoke, earthiness, some orchard fruit notes. What just an amazing quality distillate you can really taste shining through on it. So immediately I thought just port. It's classic whiskey kind of collaboration, peat and port cask, and I really want to incorporate port into my cocktail. So and then I also wanted, obviously for Poitin, the whole competition, we want to make it more approachable to the masses, and so I really want to bring a tropical kind of I suppose experience for someone who wouldn't want to order a Poitin cocktail or a peated cocktail. That the likes of pineapple juice, lime juice, these tropical notes are going to drive it, and the Pangur Poitin is really what holds so solid through it. That smoke comes through. Unlike I've tried with other peated products, and really doesn't. The 47%, the distillate itself, it really is just does justice to the cocktail as well as a peated spirit, And it's only mildly peated, I've heard as well. And looking at the menu, would someone order a Poitin cocktail? No, but would they see pineapple juice, port lime? You know what? I'll try that. And you might label it Poitin. Pangur Poitin is listed on the menu. I'm going to try that. And then if you find out it's Poitin, I think it's one that kind of shocks. It's so approachable, really, really easy drinking. And yeah, so I'm just delighted how my drink came out in the end. So without further ado, I'll begin making 2 serves. So yeah, so you can use a ruby port. I decided to use tawny port, going by the tasting notes of Pangur Poitin, the dried fruits, the nuttiness of a tawny, it pairs well nice. I've tried it with 2. Ruby is great, but it's the bright red fruit notes kind of overshine the beautiful peatiness of the Poitin itself. So we're using 30 ml of port per drink, yeah, tawny port in this case. Yeah. So then I went with just a sugar syrup, Demerara, 1:1, sweetener in this case, keep the drink going, and drive it on through. So we're doing 20 ml per drink here. Can't see mine. Like 2 spares. Could you just throw me a wee lime up there? Thanks. Yeah. So again, yeah, it'd be 20 ml per serve, but I'm going to just express this over each shaker. And there's a lot of oils in the skin that again, it's just going to make it a much brighter, fruitier drink and fresher. So yeah, and then our lovely exotic pineapple juice. Again, of course, our martini, the most sold cocktail in the world. You know, is adapted to pineapple juice. Mai Tai, again, one of the biggest cocktails, adapted to pineapple juice. So this is gonna just lengthen the drink really. We're gonna get a lovely frothy head from it as well. And the lovely tropical note that goes so well with the Petit Poitin. So we're using 50 ml per drink. So, and then finally our Bangor Ban, we're doing 50 ml as well. So we'll shake these and straight into glass. You can see we give a lovely and bright red drink, lovely frothy head. It's that drink, you know, you're in a bar. What is that? What are they drinking? What is that? You know, and everyone will ask and they'll try it without even knowing it's Poitin. You know, at the end of the day, trying to tell people that being in a final of Poitin contest, it's like, as we just mentioned, you know, is it still illegal? Is it legal? You know, people don't really know that this beautiful product is on the market. It is legal and it makes unbelievable cocktails. So, and we're going to garnish this just with a mint spray. We can lift it to get that exotic look, Instagram worthy, and my bad, not hygienic. And yeah, you'll get the lovely minty aromas as you lift it up to your nose and enjoy your drink. So this is it, P&P, Poitin Port, Bangor Poitin.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Well done, Rory.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
I'll try this and then sure.
Yeah, shout away, me. I'll just clean up.
Well, Chris, any questions at all, Chris?
Yeah, you were saying that you've tried it with Ruby Port and the berries is a different profile. If someone's making this around the world and they can only get their hands on the Ruby, do you have to compensate for the lime and the sugar, or you follow the same exact recipe, just it alters the flavors a little bit?
Yeah, it's a great question. Like everyone, you know, sweetness. Some people want pure sweet. Like as I mentioned, you know, the Mai Tais and the porn stars over this day and age is pure sweet, and that's what the masses want. I've accidentally made this drink a couple of times without sugar and didn't notice until after. So you could, yeah, for the taste, but at the moment, I think you could get away without sugar with Ruby. With the tonic, you definitely would want at least the 20 ml of a 1-to-1 sugar syrup. Yeah.
Perfect.
Can I get a little taste in here as well? All right, so cheers, everybody. Jesus, smells wonderful. That's beautiful. They're two very different cocktails as well. You know that they really are. This one, well, it's very complex anyway.
Yeah, you have really going on. Yeah, you're pineapple, the peach, everything, and then the port under layer.
And it's got a really lovely mouthfeel texture as well. It's very smooth, mellow on the palate. You know, there's a lot on. I go for a little bit. Yeah, wonderful stuff. You're getting that lime coming through as well. Breaks it up.
Yeah, well, freshly squeezed over the shaker. I'm a proud believer in fresh juices. Yeah, not pre-batching juice for a shift.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Well done. Perfect.
Aesthetically, it's a pretty cocktail. It's the type of thing, as you said, Rory, that
Sure,
somebody would see it in a bar and go, "Oh, that's one of them."
Yes, that's
Yeah,
true.
you would. And again, it's selling it under the Pangur brand rather than the Poitin brand, which I think can be
Exactly.
a deterrent to people. It's a good idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just one thing I'd like to add, and that's I am delighted I don't have to make the decision. What do you think, Anthony?
Oh, that's nice. No, I really like that. That actually, the layers and that,
Thank you.
and it just comes at you, doesn't it?
You made it for you
sweetness up
too.
front.
You didn't make it for Katie.
Yeah.
Just do
He wins. Colin's out.
Oh, dear. Interesting stuff. Oh, well done. I just want to jump in before the rest of the guys jump in here. This is being held in JJ Sheehy's bar. So if on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, anybody finds himself coming on their eastern corridor between Dublin and Belfast, you're only half an hour away if you drive really fast from this bar. But most of the times you're 45 minutes away, so call in for a pint. A lot of the time there's Killowen on here as well. The locals just descend on the place for a wee session. So there's obviously, because of the connection with Irish Whiskey Auctions, you're guaranteed to get really good whiskey pours that you don't get in most places. And you also get the crack from Anthony and Katie as well, and the children. So yeah, make sure you call in for a pint. And thanks very much to Anthony and Irish Whiskey Auctions, and also JJ Sheehy for hosting us. That's absolutely brilliant. We really appreciate it.
So if you want to mute Chris, obviously Chris isn't here with us. He's had to stay at home in Kilkenny. So Chris and I are going to have a quick phone call, discuss what we thought and everything, and we'll be back to you with who we choose as our winner. That's all right. So Chris, I'll give you a ring in a second here.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm ringing Chris.
All right.
Guys,
How then?
so the scores are being totaled right now by our two judges. So in the meantime, we've hired two fantastic models to come in and do some crack and talking. They're just tasting the two cocktails. So these are unofficial judges, but we're just going to indulge them and let them think that their opinions actually matter.
This one's already got the Christmas theme going, so the colour in this now is hitting the mark already. So
That's beautiful.
yeah.
This is Roland Collins' creation here.
No, that's Rory.
That's
Oh,
Rory.
sorry.
Rory.
This is the PMP then.
Yeah.
It's got quite very sweet at the start, but it's quite dry towards the end, kind of unexpectedly, but tasty. Has a complete different contrast to this one, I think.
Brendan Carty at home behind the bar pulling pints.
Look at that.
Is that your service price?
Do we know what went into this one?
That's the Fornock. That's
Fornock.
Roland's.
Fornock.
Okay.
So Fornock comes from the Asgaelic for rolling stone, or for a stone, and then Roland sort of put in a whole analogy of this rolling stone that's rolling into the next century.
Okay.
It's a mixture of 2 different bitters in there as well, orange bitters and sour bitters. To really complement the earthy notes very well, as does the name.
Yeah.
I think I've read that up.
Yeah, no, no, you should have done the chat.
You've been on a bit about it, you know.
I wouldn't shut up.
Yeah,
Right.
just talking and talking.
Yeah, you get more of the spirit in this one. It's this one.
It's lovely. The peat characters come to.
On the fruit with the fruitiness.
The fruit, yeah. The mint is really nicely orange for the bouquet coming off.
Do we give these an unofficial score, or what do we do?
I up to yourselves. Whatever you think. Just I suppose is the conversation. And I'll even taste the spirit along with them because it's a conversation more than anything. There was a long line of contendants before these guys, to tell you the truth. And see the final 10 were all phenomenal. They really are. So we want to pour a tiny little drop of the spirit.
I give that one a 10, that one a 10.
Or more.
See what you did there, yeah.
But haven't been tasting the spirit alongside it, just to see.
They're both made with the unaged.
They're both made with the 10 big old bourbon one.
And what did you get the froth? Was it anything? Was it
Pineapple juice.
Pineapple juice.
Yeah.
Very tasty. Both very different in their own right. It's hard to take, but I lean more on this one just as because I'm not sweetness a bit more dialed back on this one. So that's just my own personal palate.
The port would lend itself for really a winter cocktail more as well. Did you give any more thought to that? Or was it?
Yeah, but it's exotic and fruity for summer as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is, and it's like it would be fresh again.
That's lovely.
Two lads are just going to stand here and just get the sauce. They're having it. Dead on.
These available on Saturday.
Yes. You will get the 2 lads back and say, no, don't say that out loud. Jesus.
Yeah, look, I mean,
the big gate crashers.
Toss up, I think they're both delicious, so, but I think with my more palate.
Hey, look at Brandon.
I'm just in the bottom of it.
It's here in the corner, and behind them.
These are on special, and she the next month, is it?
Yeah. I'm no cocktail barman, I can tell you that.
You need to start now.
Yeah.
And just try the new big spirit place as well.
Yeah.
I'm running around in the background here trying to get up my drinks. We got a thirsty audience.
Nathan's good news from judging all over here.
Right. You get the final scores?
That's a massive one.
Martha, this year.
We're all online. There's
No.
Are you going to say
Michael Clement was there, I think, at one stage.
I think he went to the gym there.
He went to the gym. Of course he did, yeah. That'd be him, all right. We'd have to go and try and pretend he's fit.
Keep drinking this now, man. We tight chef.
Is this what it is?
Yeah.
Bourbon fast fest.
That's very nice. Very good.
Like that, yeah.
No, it's this one.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah. Do you have anyone have a favorite here?
What's Shanda think?
Shanda, what's your?
I think at the start of the night, I would start on the P&P, but on the end of the night, I'd probably end up on the corner on that. Yeah, so.
We're filling for the moment with loads. We're just trying to give her quote unquote her opinion here.
Thanks very much, lads, for doing all the entertainment. Taking the bad look at the place. It's good to see everyone tuning in. Stacey and all too. Good to see you. So we've just got good news or bad news as well. But we've got Nathan here, who was conversing for some time with the other judge, Chris Hennessy, down in Kilkenny, and Nathan's going to deliver his news, and we're all looking forward to it. So go on ahead, Nathan, and you're going to have a conversation, I'm sure.
So Chris and I had a phone call there, because obviously he's not here. And right away, we kind of talked about our different points on both cocktails. I mean, both cocktails, they are completely separate, two different style cocktails, which we liked on it. Obviously, one of the main factors of this competition was how easily replicated can the cocktails be, how readily available are the ingredients, because it's not meant to be just for Ireland and Northern Ireland and UK, America, Australia, all over the world. So that was kind of one of the big tasks. Both these cocktails, we both agreed that they can be easily replicated. I think Chris and I both agreed about that they would both easily be found on cocktail menus around the world. Is that right, Chris? However, there was one that I think stood out a little bit more than the other. So, Chris, do you have anything to say about the cocktails and the competition and all that before we announce the winner?
Yeah, getting the 40 odd contestants down to 10 was easy enough. Getting the 10 down to 2 was very, very hard, to be honest with you. The style of cocktails was very, very diverse. Visual appeal versus accessible ingredients. Some of them stood out very, very big. Some of them were quite hard to get your hands on. The top two, they're complete polar opposites of one another. One's very boozy and very alcohol forward. The second one's like a little fluffy sweet monster with a hidden poitin kind of backbone to it. So they didn't make it easy on us, but it was good fun finding everything, and it was good fun making the actual drinks themselves. And as both of us have said earlier on, they're definitely drinks we'd be very proud to find on menus around the world, just drinks we would find in different styles of bars.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So I kind of want to invite Rory up. Again, guys, absolutely well done job. They're both really, really good cocktails. And like Chris and I, like Chris was saying, it was really, really hard when we had those 10 cocktails to whittle it down to these two. Yeah, between all the 10, there was similarities. There was other ones that were using red mead, there was ones using vermouth, there was other ones using honey, heather honey. So it was kind of the same ingredients, but these two really stood out for us. It was a hard decision. We can see both of them on a cocktail menu easily around the world. One we feel could be on any cocktail menu, whereas one would be a little bit more niche. So I'd like to congratulate Rory. It was the P&P. It was an absolutely fabulous cocktail. Chris and I both loved it, and so well done on making the grand final. It was a very, very hard decision, and Rory, well done. Just the complexity of it, the flavors, but really I think what stood out was the color. You could see it on any menu around the world. And like everyone was saying, you see it sitting on the table. People want to know what it is. It has that kind of appeal and everything. Chris, do you want to add anything at all?
No, you hit the nail on the head there. The color of it from a distance, it's just something that's eye-catching. The fluffy appeal, so it's quite accessible. And you made a really good point by putting Pangur on a menu as opposed to poitin, so people don't have that preconceived conceptions. Yeah, congratulations.
All right. I just want to jump in and say here, thanks very much. Both of them were phenomenal. The lead up until now was enormous. Like the qualities that have been here up until now as well. So in my eyes, I decided I had no input other than one or two people because I knew in order to get this far they were both winners. So in my mind, so thanks very much. But yeah, appreciate it, lads. Thanks very much. Well done.
That's right. Thank you. Thanks, Kevin.
So looks like it. This looks like this is just about to be launched now. Pangur Poitin. So thanks very much everybody for tuning in, and keep an eye out. It should be coming to decent cocktail menus near you soon, and decent bars. So thanks very much. Thanks very much to our two judges as well, who put a lot of effort into making every single cocktail. Nathan Evans as well and Chris Hennessy down in Kilkenny. The two lads basically get smashed for a week. And, they're going to get smashed again tonight. So, and thanks again to JJ Sheehy and Irish Whiskey Auctions for hosting the event. They've been an absolutely brilliant sport. And the only reason why Anthony's shit cracked tonight is because he's all the way over there.
Trying to do the technical stuff.
Yeah, hopefully the sound quality was all right. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.